The betting pools had reached astronomical numbers by the time I slithered into the observation deck of Station Kronos 9. My translation implant buzzed against my auditory receptors as dozens of species chattered, wagered, and postured around the central viewing platform. I am Velk, a Sarathi trade negotiator, and in my 300 cycles of life I had witnessed many foolish spectacles. But this was going to be legendary stupidity. 10,000 credits says the human breaks in the first round, shrieked a Pultharian merchant, his 6 eyes gleaming with greedy anticipation. You are all fools, hissed Murnock, a Kralix warrior whose battle scars decorated his chitinous frame like medals of honor. The human will not last 30 seconds against Vraxa. 30 seconds, I had to admit. The odds seemed accurate. Laughably, devastatingly accurate. Humans had only joined the Galactic Council 40 cycles ago. 40! They were newcomers, babies in the cosmic nursery. And yet here we were, watching one of their females volunteer for something that would have made seasoned warriors reconsider their life choices. The arena below was a standard combat sphere, 50 meters in diameter, with energy barriers that could theoretically withstand a plasma detonation. The key word being theoretically, because Vraxa, the Gorlathian champion, had a tendency to make theoretical limits look like amusing suggestions. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored species of all configurations, the announcer's voice boomed through the station's audio system. Tonight we witness history. In the red corner, standing at 4.2 meters tall, weighing 680 kilograms of pure muscle and fury, undefeated in 73 matches, the Shatterer of Bones, the Breaker of Worlds, the Gorlathian goddess of war herself, Vraxa. The crowd erupted. Vraxa entered the arena with the confidence of someone who had never met defeat. Her forearms flexed, each one capable of crushing durasteel. Her hide, a mottled gray-green, was thick enough to deflect blaster fire. Her teeth, oh those teeth, could bite through ship hull plating. I had seen her fight once before. Once was enough. The cleanup crew had needed 3 days in industrial-grade solvents. And in the blue corner, the announcer continued, and I swear I heard a note of uncertainty creep into his voice, standing at 1.7 meters, weighing 62 kilograms with exactly 0 professional combat experience, from the recently contacted planet Earth, representing humanity in her first sanctioned match. Please welcome, Maya Winters. The human walked in. Just walked in. No posturing, no roaring, no threatening gestures. She simply stepped onto the arena floor wearing what appeared to be minimal protective gear, her hair tied back in a simple knot, her expression calm, too calm, disturbingly calm. Oh, this is going to be a massacre, wheezed Gorblix, a Tenthorian observer whose species loved watching violence almost as much as they loved fermented plant matter. I almost feel bad for her. Almost. The human female appears to be smiling, noted this, a fellow Sarathi whose analytical mind was sharper than my own. Curious. Is this a fear response in their species? Perhaps she does not understand what is about to happen, I suggested. Orthis' tongue flickered thoughtfully. Perhaps we do not understand what is about to happen. The referee, a floating AI construct that could not be bribed or intimidated, which made it perfect for this role, materialized between the combatants. Combatants. You know the rules. No weapons. No lethal strikes to vital organs unless absolutely unavoidable. Fight until one combatant yields, is incapacitated, or, the AI paused, deceased. May the best warrior prevail. Vraxa cracked her knuckles. All 16 of them. The sound echoed like gunshots. Maya Winters rolled her shoulders, bounced on her feet twice, and then did something that made my blood run cold. She winked at Vraxa. Winked. Did the human just? Gorblix sputtered. Did she just mock the Gorlathian champion? Begin, announced the referee, and vanished. Vraxa moved with surprising speed for something her size. She closed the distance in 3 massive strides, one of her primary arms swinging in a haymaker that could have decapitated a battle mech. Maya ducked under it so smoothly that it looked choreographed. The human's movement was fluid, efficient, like water flowing around an obstacle. Vraxa's fist hit nothing but air, and the Gorlathian's momentum carried her forward, off balance for just a fraction of a second. That was when Maya struck, not with her fists, with her foot. A spinning kick that connected with the side of Vraxa's knee with a sound like a tree branch snapping. The Gorlathian roared in pain and surprise, stumbling, and the crowd gasped collectively. Nobody had ever landed a blow on Vraxa in the first exchange. Lucky shot, Murnock insisted, but his voice lacked conviction. Vraxa recovered, rage flooding her features. She came at Maya with all 4 arms swinging, a whirlwind of destruction that should have turned the human into paste. Should have. Maya moved between the strikes like she could see them coming before they happened. Dodge, weave, duck, sidestep. Her body bent and twisted in ways that seemed to defy her skeletal structure. A fist whooshed past her head, missing by millimeters. Another sailed over her as she dropped into a crouch. A third, she simply leaned away from, casual as avoiding a falling leaf. Impossible, breathed Des. Her reaction time it is absurd. Deathworlders, I muttered, remembering the classified reports I had seen about Earth. Gravity 2.5 times standard. Atmospheric composition that would corrode most species. Predators that hunted them for millions of years. They evolved to survive literal hell. Maya danced around Vraxa, and that is the only word that fits. She danced. Her movements were beautiful and terrifying. A performance of violence that had not yet truly begun. Vraxa, growing desperate, attempted a grab with all four arms, trying to cage the human, to crush her in an unbreakable hold. Maya jumped. Straight up. Higher than should have been possible in standard station gravity. She used Vraxa's own arm as a springboard, vaulted over the Gorlathian's head, and as she passed, drove her elbow down onto the base of Vraxa's skull. The impact echoed. Vraxa stumbled forward, dazed. The crowd had gone silent. This was not how these fights went. This was not the script. She is toying with her, Gorblix whispered. The human is toying with the Gorlathian champion, and that is when I saw it. The shift in Maya's expression, the smile disappeared. Her eyes, those strange forward-facing predator eyes, went cold, hard, ancient. She stopped retreating. Vraxa turned, shook her head to clear it, and charged again, this time with the fury of wounded pride fueling her attack. Maya stood her ground. At the last possible instant she sidestepped, grabbed one of Vraxa's arms with both hands, and used the Gorlathian's own momentum against her. A perfect throw that sent all 680 kilograms of muscle and fury sailing through the air. Vraxa crashed into the arena wall with enough force to crack the reinforced material. By the ancestors, someone whispered. The Gorlathian champion peeled herself from the wall, bleeding from a cut above her eye. She had never bled in the arena before. Never. You, Vraxa growled, her voice thick with pain and disbelief. What are you? Maya tilted her head, and when she spoke, her voice carried across the silent observation deck with perfect clarity. I am a human. From Earth. We are persistence hunters. We are endurance predators. We chased our food until it died of exhaustion. We survived ice ages, plagues, predators, and each other. We went to war with ourselves for 10,000 years and learned every possible way to break, maim, and kill things that look exactly like us. She paused. You wanted to fight a Deathworlder? Congratulations. Now you get to learn why we call it that. Vraxa roared and charged again, but there was fear in that roar now. Real fear. What followed was not a fight. It was a lesson. Maya systematically dismantled the Gorlathian champion. Every strike was precise. Every movement was calculated. She targeted joints, nerve clusters, pressure points. She used Vraxa's strength against her. Turned the Gorlathian's size from an advantage into a liability. A strike to the solar plexus that left Vraxa gasping. A sweep that took her legs out. A nerve strike that paralyzed her left arm. Another that deadened her right leg. Piece by piece Maya took Vraxa apart, and the entire time she talked. This is called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This one is Muay Thai. Oh, you will love this. It is from a discipline called Krav Maga, designed specifically for killing people quickly. Matter of fact, educational, terrifying. The betting pools had fallen silent. Credits were being refunded without argument. Nobody was collecting. Vraxa, the undefeated champion, the shatterer of bones, was on her knees, breathing hard, 3 of her forearms hanging useless, her leg barely supporting her weight. Maya stood in front of her, not even breathing hard. Yield, Maya said softly. Vraxa's eyes, all 3 of them, widened. Never. Then I will make you. What happened next would be analyzed, replayed, and studied for cycles to come. Maya moved in a blur of motion, faster than I had seen her move during the entire fight. She was behind Vraxa in an instant, her arms wrapped around the Gorlathian's thick neck in a chokehold that looked almost gentle. This is called a rear naked choke, Maya explained calmly, as Vraxa thrashed, trying to dislodge her. It cuts off blood flow to the brain. You have about 10 seconds before you lose consciousness. 5 have already passed. Vraxa's movements became sluggish. Yield, or sleep. Your choice. The Gorlathian's hand slapped the floor 3 times. The universal signal of submission. Maya released her immediately, stepping back, helping Vraxa sit up so she would not fall and hurt herself further. The referee materialized. Winner, By submission, Maya Winters of Earth. The silence stretched for 3 full seconds. Then someone started clapping. Slowly at first. Then others joined. Then more. Within moments, the entire observation deck was erupting in applause, cheers, and the various sounds of approval from 100 different species. I found myself clapping too. Clapping for a species I had underestimated. Clapping for a reminder that the universe was full of surprises. Thys leaned close to me. I believe we need to update our files on humans. Yes. I agreed, watching as Maya helped Vraxa to her feet, supporting the much larger being with ease. Yes, I believe we do, because in that arena we had not just witnessed a fight, we had witnessed a warning. Humans were not to be underestimated. Not their strength, not their speed, not their capacity for violence, and certainly not their restraint. Maya Winters could have killed Vraxa a dozen times over. She chose mercy instead, which meant humans knew exactly how dangerous they were, and that terrified me more than anything. The medical bay hummed with activity as I watched the aftermath unfold. Vraxa sat on a reinforced examination table, designed for beings of her considerable mass, while 3 different medical technicians scurried around her, scanning, injecting, and muttering in their various languages. Maya Winters sat in the corner, drinking something from a small container. Water. I had learned. Simple hydrogen and oxygen. Yet humans needed it constantly, or they would literally die. Fragile in some ways, terrifyingly resilient in others. Your knee will heal in 6 cycles, the lead physician, a Morphian named Dr. Kellix, informed Vraxa. The nerve damage to your arms will take 3. You are remarkably fortunate that your opponent showed restraint. Vraxa grunted, her pride clearly wounded worse than her body. Her 3 eyes kept darting to Maya, a mixture of respect and confusion warring in her expression. Approach the human carefully. Even after watching her fight. No, especially after watching her fight, I felt the instinctive caution prey species develop around predators. That was quite a performance, I said, my translation implant converting my hissing Sarathi into something approximating human speech. Maya looked up, smiled. That same calm smile from before the fight. Thank you, Velk. I saw you in the observation deck. You were the one not betting against me. My eye membranes flickered in surprise. You noticed the betting pools? Of course. The odds were hilarious. 10,000 to 1 against me in some pools. If I had any credits to spare, I would have bet on myself. She took another sip of water. Easy money. You were that confident? I found myself genuinely curious. This human had walked into an arena to face a champion who outweighed her by over 600 kilograms, and she had been thinking about profit margins. Confident? Maya considered the word. Not exactly. Prepared? Definitely. I have been training in combat sports since I was 6 years old. Boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, judo, sambo, kali, Wing Chun, and about a dozen other systems. I competed in mixed martial arts on Earth for 8 years before joining the diplomatic corps. She gestured at Vraxa. Your champion is strong, fast for her size, and has instinct, but she has no formal training, no technique. She has won through raw power alone. Against someone with actual skills, she never had a chance. Thais had slithered up beside me, listening with rapt attention. You speak of combat as if it is commonplace on your world, because it is, Maya said simply. Humans have been fighting each other, and everything else, since before we had language. We invented thousands of ways to hurt each other, then we turned those methods into sports, entertainment, art forms. We teach children to fight. We celebrate fighters. We study violence the way some species study poetry. That is horrifying. Thys observed. That is humanity. Maya countered. We are a paradox. We can be incredibly gentle, compassionate, creative. We make music that can move you to tears, art that transcends language, stories that inspire hope, but we are also the species that survived by being tougher, meaner, and more stubborn than everything that tried to kill us. Both things are true. Both things are A commotion at the medical bay entrance interrupted our conversation. A delegation was arriving, and judging by the expensive clothing and the entourage, these were important individuals. Counselor Thrace, a Valorian diplomat whose species controlled significant trade routes, led the group. His crystalline body refracted the medical bay lights into prismatic patterns across the walls. Miss Winters? Thrace's voice resonated like wind chimes. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I must express our, surprise at today's events. Maya stood, respectful but not submissive. Counselor, I hope I have not caused any diplomatic incidents. Diplomatic incidents? Thrace's laugh sounded like breaking glass. My dear, You have just overturned 300 cycles of established combat rankings. The betting syndicates are in chaos. Half the warrior guilds are demanding rematches. The other half are requesting to train with you. He paused. And perhaps most significantly, you have reminded the galaxy that Earth, despite being newcomers, should not be underestimated. That was not my intention, Maya said carefully. I simply accepted a challenge issued by those who assumed humans were weak, interjected another council member, a Vravaxian whose name I could not pronounce. We have been treating your species as curiosities, amusing primitives from a backwater planet. Today you corrected that assumption quite thoroughly. Vraxa chose that moment to speak, her voice still rough but steady. She is no primitive. The Gorlathian pushed herself off the examination table, waving away the concerned physicians. I have fought warriors from 80 different species, champions, soldiers, hunters, killers. None of them moved like her. None of them fought with such precision. She locked eyes with Maya. You made me feel like a clumsy infant swinging at shadows. You are a powerful fighter, Maya said, genuinely. With proper training, you could be exceptional. Your strength and speed are incredible. You just need to refine your technique. Would you teach me? The question hung in the air like a physical thing. Every being in the medical bay froze. A Gorlathian champion, asking a human, a being 1/10 her size for training? Unthinkable. Unprecedented. Maya smiled. I would be honored. Counselor Thrace's form shimmered with what I had learned to recognize as pleasure. Excellent. This could be the beginning of a very beneficial cultural exchange. In fact, I have a proposal. He turned to address the room. The council has been discussing establishing an interspecies combat training program, a way for different species to learn from each other, to understand various fighting philosophies and techniques. Miss Winters, would humanity be interested in participating, perhaps even leading such a program? I saw the calculation in Maya's eyes. She understood immediately what was being offered, not just a training program, a chance to elevate humanity's position in galactic society, to be seen not as newcomers but as teachers, as equals. I would need to consult with Earth's diplomatic corps, Maya said carefully. But personally, I think it is an excellent idea. Humans have much to learn from other species, and apparently we have some things to teach as well. Indeed, Thrace agreed. Though I must ask, purely out of curiosity, how many humans possess your level of skill? Maya laughed. Actually laughed. Counselor, I am good. Maybe top 1,000 in my weight class on Earth, but I am not even close to the best. There are humans who could take me apart just as easily as I did Vraxa. Fighters who have spent their entire lives perfecting their craft, champions who make me look like an amateur. The silence that followed was profound. Top 1,000? This whispered beside me. She is saying there are at least 1,000 humans more skilled than her. At least, Maya confirmed. In my weight class alone. If you account for all weight classes, all genders, all age groups. Millions of humans train seriously in combat sports. Millions more casually. Fighting is woven into our culture. It is entertainment, exercise, self-defense, tradition, competition. It is part of who we are. Counselor Thrace's form flickered, a sign of agitation. We have made a significant error in our assessment of Earth. Not an error, Maya corrected gently. An oversight. You looked at our technology, which is admittedly behind most galactic standards. You looked at our lack of faster-than-light travel, our primitive computers, our basic energy system. You saw a species that was physically similar to dozens of others. You made assumptions based on incomplete data. She spread her hands. We do the same thing. It is natural. But yes, if you are going to interact with humanity going forward, you should probably understand what we are. And what are you? I found myself asking. Maya turned those predator eyes on me, and I resisted the urge to step back. We are survivors. Adapters. We are the species that took over an entire planet not through strength or speed, or natural weapons, but through stubbornness and creativity. We learned to throw rocks better than anyone else. We learned to run longer. We learned to think faster. We learned to cooperate when we needed to and to compete when we had to. We are the species that looked at fire and said, let us control that. We looked at the oceans and said, let us cross those. We looked at the sky and said, let us fly. We looked at space and said, let us go there too. She paused, making sure everyone was listening. We are not the strongest species. We are not the fastest. We are not the smartest, though we are pretty clever. We are not the most advanced. But we are persistent. We are adaptable, and we absolutely refuse to quit. Ever. That is, humanity. That is what makes us Deathworlders. Not that our planet tried to kill us, though it did, but that we survived anyway, and then we thrived. The medical bay had become a classroom and we were all students. Dr. Kellix, who had been quietly working during the entire conversation, spoke up. I have been examining your physiology during this discussion, Miss Winters. With your permission, of course. The scans are fascinating. Your bone density is extraordinary. Your muscle fiber composition is optimized for both power and endurance. Your reaction time is nearly 3 times faster than galactic average. Your cardiovascular system is absurdly efficient. He paused. And yet, you are completely unmodified. This is your natural state. Completely natural, Maya confirmed. This is just what humans are. We have people stronger than me, faster than me, tougher than me. This is baseline, terrifying. This muttered. Absolutely terrifying. Or, Counselor Thrace suggested, his tone thoughtful. Extremely valuable. Imagine human trainers working with our military forces. Human strategists analyzing our defensive systems. Human athletes pushing our competitors to new heights. Human physicians sharing their understanding of trauma medicine. Because clearly, a species that fights as much as yours must be excellent at healing combat injuries. Maya nodded. We are. Necessity breeds innovation. We have been patching each other up after fights for thousands of years. The conversation continued for another hour. Agreements were sketched out, proposals were made, cultural exchange programs were discussed. All because one human woman had stepped into an arena and reminded the galaxy that Earth was not to be dismissed. Finally, as the delegation prepared to leave, Vraxa approached Maya one last time. Why did you not kill me? The Gorlathian asked bluntly. You had opportunities. Many opportunities. I felt them. Moments where you could have struck vital points, could have broken my neck, could have ended it. Why show mercy to someone who showed you none? Maya met her gaze steadily. Because you were not my enemy. You were my opponent. There is a difference. Enemies, you eliminate. Opponents, you respect. You challenged me to a sanctioned match with rules. I accepted those rules. Within those boundaries I won, but I had no desire to seriously injure you, let alone kill you. What would that prove? That I can hurt someone? Any idiot can do that. True skill is knowing when to stop. True strength is choosing restraint. Vraxa stared at her for a long moment, then did something I had never seen a Gorlathian do. She bowed, deeply. A gesture of profound respect among her people. You have taught me something today, human. About fighting. Yes, but more importantly about honor. I look forward to learning from you. Maya bowed back, matching the gesture perfectly. And I from you, champion. As I watched them, these two warriors from completely different worlds showing each other respect earned through combat, I realized something profound. The galaxy had just changed. Humanity had arrived, not with advanced weapons or superior technology, but with something far more dangerous. They had arrived with the knowledge of what they were, the confidence that came from surviving the unsurvivable, and the wisdom to know when to fight and when to show mercy. They were Deathworlders, persistence predators, survivors of a planet that had tried everything to kill them and failed, and they had just announced themselves to the galaxy in the most unmistakable way possible. Not with words, not with threats, but with a demonstration that said clearly we are small, we are new, we are behind in technology, but we are human, and that means something. As I slithered out of the medical bay, I found myself genuinely excited about the future for the first time in cycles, because if one human could do this, what could billions of them accomplish? What would humanity teach us? What would we teach them? What would we build together? The possibilities were endless and absolutely terrifying, but in the best possible way.